morning, knitters. Welcome to episode 81 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I am Devin Ventry. You can find me online at knittymcpurly.com, and you can email me at devin@knittymcpurly.com. And on Instagram, I'm Knitty McPurly. All that stuff's down below. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. You guys, this morning has been hilariously crazy. This is like my 15th try at starting this podcast, and stuff keeps happening. Like my phone battery was dead, and then I had to drive somebody somewhere. My husband just walked in the door, and I'm like, I'm gonna go do the podcast. It's been crazy. Anyway, I might get an email that I have to go drive my son somewhere. Maybe not. We'll see. Whatever. It's all good. It's gonna be 92 today here in Virginia. 92 degrees. Crazy. My husband and I are going to a family party later that's supposed to be a cookout. We'll see. I don't know if that's going to work out. Gas prices are at $4.50 here in Virginia. There's one place that's $4.65, but I'm not going there just on principle. But it's crazy. I posted something on Instagram about that yesterday, and I got a lot of responses, people saying, this is how much it is here. It's this much here. So it's the 1970s all over again. I was born during the Carter administration, so I remember that. No, I don't, but I was there. Okay, those of you coming to the retreat, I mentioned this last time, but the listing was not up on the website yet, so it is up there now. If you're coming to the retreat and you want to make your last payment for the retreat, on that little sidebar down the side of the website at the very bottom is a little thingy for the retreat. And if you click it, there's a listing in there to make your last payment. Once you've done that, but our interactions in terms of money exchanged is done. You still have to pay for obviously your travel and your hotel room. But that payment for me covers all of the food and the classes and the swag and all the meeting room. It's all listed in there. You guys know what it is. It's all the food and the fun stuff and the boring stuff. That's what that covers. Also, there's some advent calendars left. I'm going to mention this every time because every time people say, oh, you have an advent calendar? I do. There is an advent calendar. It's going to be shipping this year in October because if I try and ship it closer to Christmas, the Postal Service gets overwhelmed, and UPS, they get overwhelmed, and inevitably one gets lost, and that's terrible. Losing an advent calendar is like, it's terrible. It's so sad when that happens. So I'm going to ship them a little bit earlier. They hopefully will be for sale all through the summer. I made a lot, so I've had a lot of them sold, but there's still some left. So please go get one of those if you're interested. Yeah, I need to update the website. I'm planning on doing that between right now and when I post this episode. So if you go visit my website, knittymcpurly.com, there should be some new stuff up there. Okay, progress and shop news. One thing that I've been doing recently, other than working on my advent calendar and the retreat, is I've been working on a permanent palette of colors. And that is really, really fun. I've been using Procreate to do that, which if you're not familiar, that's an iPad app that allows you to draw and make palettes. I mean, that's one of the things that they let you do. You can actually buy palettes too, like on Etsy. If you look up Procreate palette on Etsy, you can find a ton of different palettes. I tend to take a lot of my inspiration from paint colors. You've heard me talk about this magazine. Is my address on there? You've heard me talk about this magazine before. This is my favorite magazine. It's crazy expensive if you buy it at the newsstand, but for the same price as one at the newsstand, you can get like a year of it. I'm not advertising for it. I just want to tell you that I love this magazine, and it has so many good ideas. It's the HGTV magazine, and it just has a lot of great like pictures and colors, and it gives you a lot of ideas. I get a lot of my inspiration from paint. So anyway, I've been using Procreate to make this palette of colors. I think right now I'm at 12 permanent colors, and I think I'm gonna stick there with the idea of, as time goes on, adding more, but I feel like 12 is a good jumping off place. So I have 2 new colors that I have come up with recently. I wanted a color that was almost white, but pink, like a really, really pale pink. And it took me a couple tries. I have in my dyeing space, I have a couple failures, and the failures are amazing. Like, they're gorgeous. I love them, but they aren't what I was going for. I wanted something that was very, very, very pale pink. Gosh, it's so hard to photograph yarn. It really is. I think it's capturing it pretty well, but it's just so pretty. This is it on the Warsaw worsted, and this color is called Bougie, not Boogie. Do not call it boogie. Bougie. Bougie is a kind of modern slang term that means kind of uppity and fancy. And this is very uppity and fancy. It's just so gorgeous. I am absolutely in love with it. This is going to be a permanent color, meaning that I will always have it. I want to get this group of permanent colors and make color cards that you can purchase that, oh gosh, I forgot some of the stuff I was going to go get. I might go do that. That you can purchase that will show you all of the colors so that you can see them, because I love that. I have one of the ones from Brooklyn Tweed. I think they now have a bunch, but when I bought mine, it was before they had all these new bases, and it just had like all their colors, and it was so nice to be able to see it in actual yarn, not like, you know, just on the website, because it is hard to see on a website, especially because you can have your screen set to different brightness, different contrast, and it'll look different. So having a color card, I think, would be really, really nice. I thought it would also be nice to have the undyed bases on there so that you could see what the base feels like and what it's going to feel like when you get it. So that is a project that is in the works. And right now I am at the point where I have Bougie, and I wanted a color that would be my black, but that wouldn't be black. It would be green, and you look at it and go, is that green or is that black? Like, I can't tell. And when it's knit up, it's amazing, but I don't think it looks black at all. It's just kind of a dark, beautiful color. And I called this color, and they look amazing together. I called this color Black Forest Cake because I could have called it Black Forest, because Black Forest embodies what it is. It's kind of a blackish green. But Black Forest Cake just sounds even better, even though that's not green. I seem to recall as a kid Black Forest Cake, and my mom was not like a baker. Like, for her, baking was like getting the mix. You know, she'd buy the cake mix. Hi, Mom. No judgment. I'm the same way. I don't make cakes either. But she would go to the store and get like the Betty Crocker mix and then the jar of frosting that said like Black Forest Cake on it. And I want to say it had coconut. Does it have coconut? I don't even know. Now I want cake. So Black Forest Cake and Bougie are 2 new colors that are entering the permanent color palette of Knitty McPurly. And this little adorable vest, this Milo vest, this is a Milo vest by, I want to say Georgie Hallam. Is this by Georgie Hallam? I don't know. But this is how it knits up, and you can see that looks just so good. I kind of placed the cable myself. I think she wanted it on this side and I put it on this side, but whatever. Milo vest, this is the 3-month size, and I knit it in worsted even though it's DK. So it's gonna be a little bit bigger than the regular 3-month size, but let me back up. Where do I back up to? I don't know. So my friend had a baby. She is the same age as me-ish, and she just had her 5th baby. Who is a boy, and she's very knit worthy, so I wanted to make her her son his name is Luke, I think, a little Milo vest. And I thought that this kind of masculine color would look awesome. And I just love the way it looks. And you can see how the color knits up both as garter and as stockinette. It's just so pretty. I just love it. It almost looks like a brownish green. It's awesome. Anyway, I forget what I said and what I didn't say. I've already forgotten it. It's become a thing in my house. So like, Mom won't remember anyway. Oh, yeah. So this is a DK weight pattern. And for some reason, I always knit it in worsted. I don't know why I do that. It's a DK pattern. Just use DK. I don't know. I think one time I thought it was worsted. I always think things are worsted. Like somebody just bought a sweater quantity from me in a fingering weight saying she wanted to knit Andrea Mowry's Woolen Honey sweater. And I was like, isn't that a worsted weight pattern? And she's like, nope, fingering weight. And she like took a screenshot and showed me. And I was like, I'm still going to think it's worsted. I don't know why I do that. It's like my brain defaults to worsted. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to have a shop update a week from today, Saturday, May, 28th, I think. I'm going to have a shop update, and I will have a few different bases with these two colors. So if you like them, check out my shop update on Saturday, probably be at noon Eastern time. There will be a newsletter going out about it. So if you are a newsletter subscriber, there's also a code that is unique to newsletter subscribers that they can use to get a discount all the time. So subscribe to the newsletter, go to my website, subscribe to the newsletter, and you can get that code, and I will remind you about the shop update and etc. Some of the bases that I'm going to have are the St. Petersburg Super Bulky, Fort Lauderdale fingering weight, because I have had Fort Lauderdale fingering weight and Frankfurt for a while, and I love them both, and they're so similar. Like they are they're just almost interchangeable. And I've been thinking, like, you can't have both. Like, you need to pick one. But it's been a very hard choice. It's been like a year and a half of me being like, but I can't get rid of this one because I love it so much, and I can't get rid of this one because I love it so much. So I have decided that I'm going to keep the Frankfurt fingering and get rid of the Fort Lauderdale one. And so if you have them and you want to interchange them, you can absolutely do that. Fort Lauderdale is a bit of a tighter twist, and the Frankfurt fingering is just slightly plumper, but they're both amazing. They're both good for anything you would want to use them for. Socks, sweaters, shawls. They're just workhorse fingering weight yarns that are soft and wonderful and would make great sweaters too. And I have with both of them, so they're wonderful, both wonderful. But there's going to be some Fort Lauderdale in the shop update because I am retiring that base. Another base that I tried out early, and then because it is not as versatile in that it's a single ply, this one's the Florence fingering weight. I'm going to have that in the shop update because I'm going to retire that base. This is a single ply yarn. It is really nice. It's really pretty. It looks really good. I really like a lot of things about it, but it is not as versatile. It would be great for shawls or sweaters or something that doesn't receive the kind of wear that like socks do. You know, you can't walk on Florence fingering. It's not going to hold up to that. But if you love a single ply, then that will be available also. Munich mohair is one that will be in the shop update, but that I am not retiring. So basically, I'm going to have a lot of different yarns in the shop update. I'll have more about that in the newsletter, and you can go check that out if you want to. I don't have it on the website yet, but hopefully I will by the time you see this. My Peony lip balm. Now, the thing about the lip balm is that, first of all, it is amazing. I absolutely love it. Second of all, it is very similar to the hand balm. It has a slightly different recipe, but it pretty much works. And I use these as portable hand balms. So you can just kind of have it in your, in your car, and you can just kind of put it on the go. That's what I do. So that's kind of what I assume everyone does. Now, I have had these go through the wash. Don't do that, because what you will end up with is just an empty container at the end. But the good news is and I say this tentatively because this is what happened with me, but please don't think I'm making a guarantee for you. Don't put them in the wash. Don't do that. But when mine have gone through the wash, like if you wash a chapstick, it's gonna come out empty, just like this, but your clothes are gonna be all spotted with whatever waxy substance they used in that chapstick. If this goes through the wash, at least in my experience, I had no clothes were ruined by it. So that was nice. It just evaporated into the air, I guess. I don't know. Or it spread out evenly among the clothes so that there were no spots. I don't know why that happened, but don't wash it. Also, something that happens with natural balms. I noticed this with my Tuft Woolens hand balms as well. It's just a natural balm thing. If it gets cold, it will feel a little bit grainy. All you have to do to fix that is like put it in your pocket for a couple hours, and just having it near your body heat will warm it up enough that it won't be grainy anymore. That will go away just with a slight warming. You know, don't put it in the dryer. Don't do that. Don't put it in the microwave. That's too much. But just if you put it in your pocket, it'll come out and it should be nice and smooth again. So there's that. Also, I've had requests. There will be more hand balm in the shop soon. Okay, also, I have a new product coming that's very exciting. It is wool wash. You guys, I'm gonna have my own wool wash. I'm so pumped about it. Right now, it is with beta testers who are trying it out and letting me know what they think of it. I think it's amazing. I personally think it is my favorite wool wash that I've ever used, and I can't wait to tell you more about it. So the beta test, I have my testers working on it up until June 1st. So depending on what they come back with, it will either be out soon after that, or it will need to be a little bit back to the drawing board. We'll see. I don't know. But there's wool wash coming, and there will be a sample of it in the advent calendar. So there's that, and a new scent, a new Christmassy scent. Yay! My job is so much fun. I mean, I have just the best job in the whole world. It really is so much fun. Okay, this week's topic of the week, we are going to talk about fearlessness. Because here's what got me into talking about this topic. This book by Norah Gaughn, it is called Knit, Fold, Pleat, Repeat. And what really got me to buy this book, well, first of all, everything Norah Gaughn does is amazing. She's very smart and very fearless. Like, she doesn't see limits. And is this crooked? No, it's crooked the other way. Okay. She doesn't see limits. She looks past what is expected and makes something that you didn't know you could do. Here's a little picture from the back. And I kind of wanted to share this book, especially because on Amazon, you can't look in it. Like, I don't need to see the details. I just want to see the pictures. Like, can you show me the pictures that are in there? Now you can see these are very architectural knits. We're talking about tucking in a way that's prescribable and knitting three-dimensional things in the case of that blue cowl there. So I just want to go through this book with you a little bit. It's about, as of right now, it's in the $22, $23 range on Amazon, but you know, that changes. And it's just so pretty. Norah Gaughn is amazing. She's kind of my hero. But I was really won over by this cover design because I love this. I love the idea of making something three-dimensional, especially with pleats, because I think those are really pretty. I just want to show you a few of the pictures. Like, you know, this is kind of the fashion now where you tuck in the front of something, but this is just a regular tank top that she has added a little tuck to. And I think you can take inspiration from a book like this without necessarily following the patterns. Let me see. She uses a lot of squares and rectangles and then messes with them or attaches them in unique ways. But I really thought it was going to be more a book of pleats, but it's not. It's like, let me see how I can use squares and rectangles to make something. And that's kind of what she does here. It's pretty easy with a drop shoulder sweater to use only rectangles. So here is just a general picture of what you're doing. It's just basically rectangles attached to each other. Cool, right? This is a little cowl that's a rectangle sewn together. But in true Norah Gaughn fashion, it's got all these awesome cables. So after I got this book, I went ahead and ordered the Twisted Stitch one. So I'm going to show you that one next week. This book has a lot of patterns and oh, and here she is wearing it upside down. Cool, right? And that's, yeah, it looks like those are cables that are reversible, which is interesting too. And this is really cool. And again, this is rectangles. It's like she said, how can I take rectangles and just attach them in an interesting way? Now, these are more basic. What we're looking at right now is more basic, very wearable kind of things. And as the book goes on, it becomes more architectural. Still kind of basic. Oh, cool. So here you can see what she's done there is just attached rectangles together or triangles. Are they, what shapes are these? I don't even know. I don't know. Now this is like an experiment that I personally am not interested in at all. This is basically a tube that she's drawn together with stitches at the top. But I get it, try it. See, you know, knit it up. Sometimes it turns out the way you want. Sometimes you're like, meh. But I need another pattern for the book, so it's going in. This is another one that it's not my favorite, but I like the idea. She's just amazing. Let's see. Okay, now here we're getting into it. Chapter 3 is called Manipulate, and that's going to be interesting. So here she has a headband, and this has a plastic headband on the inside. So you're going to, it's just the top, and then you put a plastic or a metal headband on the inside. Oh, and this is just so cool. Isn't that cool? Like, I don't know where you would wear that. I don't know what weight of yarn she's used here. Let's see if it says. Chickadee. Chickadee is a fingering weight, I think. Quince & Co. Chickadee is a fingering weight, which is good because otherwise it would be just too floppy. And then she uses that pattern in a couple different things. And here is a smocked pillow. Cool. But let's see, I don't want to go through this entire book, but towards the end, they get really interesting. Cool, right? Let's see. Oh, I really like this one. This is really neat. And it's like a sweater, but I don't think it connects under the arms. Let's see. Yeah, it's like a sweater slash shawl, but you could connect it. It's just neat. Like that would look good as a fancy dress sweater slash shawl. And it looks like it would stay on because it goes all the way around your neck. That's just cool. I really like it. There's another one in here in particular that I want to show you. It's really neat. It's not very practical. And there's a bunch more. Like, I am not showing you all of the ones in there. Oh, this is really cute too. Where she's done this gathering on the sleeve. It's just a plain sweater, but she's done this gathering on the sleeve. Cool. Wait, there's another particular one that I want to show you. That's very architectural, not very practical. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Look at that. It's just a plain top, but it has these three-dimensional sleeves. And here's a couple more pictures of that. Isn't that interesting? Like it's a little bit runway. It's a little bit runway, you know. But I do think you could incorporate it into your, you know, your regular wardrobe. But this is a really cool book. I really like it. It's got a lot of ideas, and she says things in her patterns like, I don't mind sewing these two ends together. Like when you get here, you can just sew them together. But if you're picky and you want to do a provisional cast on so that you can Kitchener 2 live sets of stitches together, then do that. And I just love that because I'm the same way. I don't care if they're just sewn together most of the time. Like that's fine with me. You can sew things up so that there's a seam that looks nice. It doesn't have to look janky. But there are people who'd say, but you could use a provisional cast on and then Kitchener them, and that's better. So I like that she says things like that. You know, it's your thing. Do what you want to do, right? It's your thing. Do what you want to do. So whenever I think of fearlessness, my brain immediately goes to this guy. Stephen West embodies fearlessness in a totally different way than Norah Gaughn, in my humble opinion. This is my personal assessment. You know, and one thing that's interesting about Stephen is this, again, take it or leave it, just my commentary. I'm not an expert. I'm offering my opinion. If he tries something and he likes it, he puts it out there. And he'll, like, for example, I want to talk about his Enchanted Mesa sweater. This is a really interesting pattern for like 10 different reasons. One of the most interesting is that this is only written for one size. But what he does is he changes the gauge to get like 6 sizes. Now, I also follow Joji Locatelli, who's very sweet. And she will be working on a pattern. And now English is her second language. I'm not sure how much of it she speaks on a day-to-day basis. She's pretty good at it, obviously. But I do think there are times where she runs into trouble with pattern writing because she'll say, I've got this great sweater idea, but I can't write it. I don't know how to write it. And I want to say, get together with Stephen because he can write anything. Doesn't matter how far out there it is. He will write that down somehow. Joji would not have, if it were Joji doing this Enchanted Mesa sweater, she would not have published it. She would have said, it doesn't have enough sizes. I can't offer it to everyone, so I'm going to offer it to no one, which is a philosophy that is her philosophy. Whether you like it or not, that's her philosophy. But when I was first looking at this Enchanted Mesa sweater, I noticed that it only goes between 33-inch and 56-inch bust. And from a modern day knitting designer perspective, that's not very size inclusive. And as I dug into it, I realized that the reason is because there's only one pattern written. You change your size by changing your gauge. I don't own this pattern, so I don't know if you're also changing your yarn weight or what, but it seems like you could. I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. That's so interesting. It'd be so fun to do something like that. To be able to just offer sizes based on yarn weights and gauge. That's cool. Okay. I was just kind of running through that in my mind just there. So the Enchanted Mesa sweater is asymmetrical. Like the yoke depth is not even the same from right to left because of the short rows in the top. And I pulled up a couple pictures that I'll put up while we're talking here of it being weird. Like there are a couple where it's weird and they embrace the weird. And then there are a couple people who made it really classy and pretty. So that's interesting too. But it's fearless. That is one thing we can definitely say for sure, is that it is fearless. Stephen West does not see limits. It's like he comes up with it in his mind and then he says, if I can come up with this in my mind, I can knit it. And I've tried that before and I have failed. And maybe he has done that too. And all we see are his successes. I don't know. But I'm glad he exists, and I'm glad he writes knitting patterns, and I'm glad that I can appreciate them. Even if it's not my style, which sometimes it's not, and sometimes it is. And sometimes he has these patterns where, like I say, you're like, that's weird, and I could never wear that. But someone has knit it in different colors and styled it a different way so that it doesn't look weird at all. It looks totally classy. The next Stephen West pattern that I want to talk about in terms of fearlessness and not seeing limits is the doodler. This is a really, really cute shawl pattern. And the first time I saw it in person was at the Knot House, which is a yarn store in Frederick, Maryland, I think. That's where the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival is. I've been there a couple times, and I've been to the Knot House. And they have a lot of samples there. And I remember the first time I saw the doodler, I noticed this, I'm going to call it a cable across the top, because that is what it is. It is a cable, but it doesn't look like a cable. Like, most people would take a look at that and say, a cable has no purpose here. This is not where we put a cable. But he didn't do that. He put this cable there that's just a non-cable, and I just love it. Like, it's so creative and it's so interesting. And my mind, the first time I saw that, my mind, it like expanded a size, because I thought, gosh, you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. And you can put it out there for other people to see that they can do anything that they want. So anyway, moving on to our word of the week. I decided to stick with the theme of yarn weights, even though the ones that I already talked about are a little more esoteric. You kind of wonder, where did that come from? The word bulky, we tend to think of bulky as being big and chunky and large. And so we don't think, well, where did that come from? Because the word bulky and bulky yarn obviously go together. But I started to wonder about the word bulk and the word and its original meaning and where it came from. So we're talking about the word bulky today. So from the mid-15th century, bulk referred to plump, stout, or of great size, sometimes also meaning unwieldy and clumsy. Coming back, so that's bulky. Bulk, before that, mid-14th century, so that's, 1350s-ish, from a Scandinavian source akin to Old Norse, from bulky, B-U-L-K-I, which referred to a ship's cargo. That makes sense. I think of like bulk. Like, doesn't that give you like a nautical thought? Like the bulkhead or whatever. Like, it goes with boats. So the meaning of the word bulk but comes from that Old Norse reference to a ship's cargo, but it was also confused with an obsolete Old English term, bouk, I don't know, B-O-U-K, meaning belly. And that comes from the Proto-Germanic bukas, which is related to bucket. So belly, bucket, bulky, ship's cargo, bigness. All of these things kind of got, they went into that early medieval bucket and got swirled around. So this led to a sense of size, volume, and magnitude of material substance. So this other source kind of goes through that same etymology with the Old Norse and the Middle English, but it also includes the Proto-Germanic bulko, meaning pile or heap, Proto-Indo-European belg, I don't know, B-E-L-G, meaning pile, and goes on to the Swedish dialectical bulk, which is interesting that it's a dialectical bulk, meaning it's only occurs in either with a certain group of people or in a certain place at a certain time, meaning a bunch. Interesting. So that's kind of, put that in that medieval stirrable bucket and you come up with the word bulk, meaning kind of like a lot of stuff or a big lot of stuff. And that's how they attributed that to the yarn, because it is very chunky and bulky. All right, knitting fantasies. Today we're going to talk more about Stephen West because, like I said, he's awesome. It's easy to look at his more artistic pictures and go, whatever he's showing in that picture is not something that, 44-year-old homeschool mom me could pull off. But they are, because so many of his designs have tons of projects on Ravelry, and you can just go through and look through them and see how many people who are a little bit more conservative looking that can totally pull off these designs. On that note, my first pick that I would love to knit at some point is the Doodler that we just talked about. At some point, how many shawls do you need? I don't know, but I just feel like for the knitting experience, like you could just make this as a giftable, even though it is a fingering weight shawl. It's not very big. If you had somebody who was really knit worthy, it would be fun to make that for them. And I love the colors that he picked. It's kind of a yellow and a pink and then a beige. It's so good. So in looking through his patterns, I really found a lot of them that I liked. I mean, you could spend a whole morning diving down this rabbit hole, but I only picked out 2 more. The next one is called Chrysler, which is inspired by the architectural style of the Chrysler building. And you can totally see that when you look at the shawl. I like the colors that he used. I like the shapes that he used. The stitch patterning, it's just great. I really, really like it. Also fingering weight sweater. And my last pick is the Painting Honeycomb sweater. I love this very kitschy photo shoot type thing that he did. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that this lady in the picture is his business partner, whose name is not Penelope. They have a yarn store called Stephen and Penelope. Probably because it sounds good. I forget her name, but that's not it. But I'm pretty sure that is his business partner. And I think that this design is really, really cool. So anyway, moving right along. So here's what happened. This story comes to us from Deb. Now, if you remember from a couple podcasts back, Deb is the one who knitted the liturgical stoles for her church. And so this story is kind of even funnier as contrasted with, a very serious church-going woman who knit these beautiful, filled with Christian symbolism stoles. If you place that next to what she is knitting for us today, it's even funnier. So she says, I am Grammy to my grandson Everett's golden doodle puppy named Kylo. And I was inspired one day by a picture of a crocheted doggy poop bag holder, like dispenser, the thing that holds the empty bags. But she couldn't find a knitted pattern that was similar, so I designed my own. When in doubt, design your own, right? That's what I think. To my surprise, it has become a huge hit with my Facebook friends, and I am busy filling my orders for them. Why? Of course, how cute is that? Like you're out walking the dog. I've got a poop bag holder that looks like poop. It's awesome. So she says, the 2 pictures that she's sending here that I'm going to put up on the screen are the prototypes. I hope if you decide to share my little story, of course, Deb, thank you so much for sending it in, others will be inspired to knit them for their own use or as gifts. I will try to find out where we can find this pattern and link and put it in the show notes below in case you're interested in making your own. She says they're very easy to knit and take only a short time to make. How fun! So she says her name is Gray Gray Creations, which I presume is a reference to her grandson. So G-R-A Creations. But again, I'll see if I can find a link to that pattern and put it in the show notes so that you can get to that. We have a couple of bloops here. My son makes an appearance. I do have a boy. He has almost nothing to say. He's not really, he's the opposite of Charlotte. Let's just say it. Let's just put it like that. He does not want to be in front of the camera. But he did come in, and so I have his bloop at the end. And also, it's been a crazy day, so it's been a lot of stopping and starting. Thank you so much for joining me. Go check out my website. I have new things that are in the shop. I have new things that are coming. Yeah. Okay, bye, knitters. All right, you ready to bloop?
Yes.
This is Antonin. He's 9. What do you have to say for yourself?
Nothing.
All right, bye. Okay. Hi, knitters. Welcome to episode. All that stuff is down below in case. Gosh, I look tired. I think I need some mascara. Hold on. Hi, folks. Welcome to the Knitty McPurly podcast. Bull.